Hi, cutie pies. I am Lanikia, and you are watching What Happened on the Soaps. Ma'am, this is Days of Our Lives edition. Excuse me. Today is Monday, January the 8th, 2024. On a scale of 1 to 10, what are we going to give this one? We're going to give this one a solid 7. It might have been a 6 for me. Okay, let's go ahead and get into it. I hope you guys had a wonderful weekend. First of all, we see. Let me get my notes. First of all, we see Maggie is with Nicole and Holly. I know a lot of y'all have been saying, like, why isn't Maggie there? This is her grandchild. Why is she not there? So she's there. We finally get to see her with Nicole and Holly. And of course, Maggie is just, she brings a nice blanket and she's been knitting because she needs something to pass her time now that Victor's gone. So they just have a moment where she tells Nicole she's Holly's gonna be okay, everything's gonna be fine. And she said, "Did you see they have high tea now? Um, I don't know, at a restaurant." And she said, "Yes, Victor used to love that." And Nicole said she and EJ wanted to take Holly there, and they want to take Holly there. And so they're just chit chatting and everything because Holly's still in her coma. And so then Paulina comes in and, they tell Paulina, "Oh, you can't have a real flower in ICU." And she said, "I know." They said Abe came by and I said, "Really?" I would have liked to see a scene between Abe and Nicole. And I'm like going through my mind and I'm like, did I miss it? I love when Abe and Nicole are together in a scene. So I was like, "Oh, I missed. Y'all didn't show it. I don't remember y'all showing it, and I would have liked to see that." But Paulina is there, and excuse me, she gives them a flower. And she says, "I know it's not real, but I got the best money could buy that made it look real, to cheer up the room and everything." So Maggie and Nicole thank her for that, and she tells them, "I'm doing everything I can to get these drugs off the street and out of our babies' hands, like hurting our children." And they said, "Oh, no, 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 Paulina, we already know that you're on it." And so then Paulina starts to cough because y'all know she's dealing with her own health issues. And they're like, "Paulina, are you okay?" She's like, "Yeah." And so they leave out of the hospital because out of the ICU room because I believe the nurse told them Holly needed to take a bath, or she needed to do some things with Holly. So they leave out to give the nurse, space and time to do it. And Maggie just tells Paulina, "You got to take care of yourself, Paulina. Like, make sure you make a doctor's appointment, find out everything that's going on." But of course, we already know Paulina has done all this. She's just not telling anyone. So then Paulina ends up leaving, and Maggie and Nicole just talk, and she just encouraging Nicole. That's pretty much it, y'all. Let's move on. Um, the next thing we see is Chad and Everett. So they're investigating, right? They're at the paper, and excuse me, he's investigating everything that's been going down with Salem and all the drugs. And he says the one thing that we can find is like a lot of activity, I guess, has been going on, and it's always behind the bistro. Like that's where the hub is for the excuse me, y'all, for all the drugs and activity and everything. And so he says, "Do you think I know EJ had a stint?" I said, "Why are y'all missing Clyde's name in this?" I know EJ had a stint with drugs. He said, "Nah, he's DA. EJ's really turned his life around, and I don't really see him going back to drugs." And he said, "Well, Stefan was out there talking to EJ." And Chad was like, "Stefan has no reason to sell drugs or do anything like that. He's not into it. And he has plenty of money, so there's no reason that he would be doing this." And he said, "Okay." He said, "But I mean, it does look suspicious." So they're talking. Excuse me, y'all. I'm so sorry about that. So they're talking and doing everything, and then Stephanie comes in, right? So Stephanie comes in with food, and she said, "Oh, Chad, I didn't know you were going to be here. Um, I would have brought more for all." And Chad is like, "No, it's cool. I have somewhere to be." So he's leaving, and I don't know. Is it just me? But it doesn't seem like Stephanie hops herself from relationship to relationship. Now, I'm not saying she and Everett are in a relationship or anything, but they did kiss on New Year's. And I don't know. It's always, oh, I'm just working with him. And then the next thing you know, she's in a full blown relationship. But anyway, Chad ends up leaving. And that leaves Stephanie and Everett together to talk. And they're just talking about the drugs. And she says she's glad that he's on the case. And he says, actually, he had it's triggering for him because when he was in Seattle, he did a case as well. So he tells her about that experience. Y'all saw it. I'm not going into details. Y'all saw it. So he tells her about that experience. And then she asks him about Seattle. And no, first she tells him, I brought your favorite watermelon mojitos along with the Chinese food and everything. And she said, we used to love this and we would have it every Thursday, I believe she told him. She was like, on the night you weren't working late. And she was like, but you were always working late 4 out of 5 nights. So I said, because we all know this is the man that was married to Jada, right? Unless he's going to be a twin or something. This is the man that's supposed to be married to Jada. Now, when you say late, do you mean he didn't come home until the next morning? Like, what do you mean when you say late? Because if you're married, that makes sense why you wouldn't come. You know what I mean? But she did say late, and she said not. I don't know. Y'all tell me what you're thinking. But that did catch my attention because I was like, well, if you're married, that's something you would do. You wouldn't be able to come and say you're working, and working all the time late, but then you could tell your wife, oh, well, every Thursday I have to do this. So then Thursdays would be your nights to go over to your mistress house. You know what I mean? Even though she doesn't know she's a mistress. Y'all tell me what you think. Let's move on. So, anyways, she asks him about Seattle and has he thought about going back? And he tells her he doesn't have anything to go back to. She said Joey still has her apartment there, and he says that if he had something to go back to, he would go back to Seattle. But and I said, oh well, unless Stephanie goes back to Seattle, you don't have anything to go back to, then, sir. I don't know. Y'all tell me what you think. Um, let's move on. So then we go over here and we see Ava and Trip, and Trip comes in because I said Ava still ain't had a chance to you know get out of her clothes from New Year's. But Trip comes in and he tells Ava where he's not done with the conversation with her about what's going on. He said, you were all too happy to see me leave to Hong Kong, but I'm not going because I'm staying right here because I know something is wrong and something is going on with you. And she's like, listen, Trip, everything is good. He said, the Ava Vitelli, I know my mom, she would never want me to just go off to Hong Kong. She said, do you think I'm that selfish? Now, Ava, girl. Now you know you would have wanted Trip to stay right there with you, but okay, girl, I'm gonna ride with you. And he said, there's no way you would ever want me to leave. And she says, Trip, I want you to be happy. Wendy seems like a nice girl. And she's tap dancing around everything, trying to come up with different things. And he's just like, Mom, I feel like there's something going on. And we're not done with this conversation until you tell me what it is because I want to protect you. He's concerned about Ava. And so he's trying to get to the bottom of it. And I feel like he might have wore Ava down. But Wendy comes back. I said, girl, what you doing here? So what are you doing here? And so Wendy comes back and she said, Trip. He said, did your flight get canceled? What happened? She said, no, I couldn't leave you. That's not what she said, but that's what I heard. I couldn't leave you. I couldn't leave the love of my life to go and deal with the issues my daddy got going on. He wasn't that friendly to me anyways. She didn't say all that, but y'all know her daddy was mean. And so she wants to be with Trip, and Ava uses that as an excuse to get out of get out of there. She was like, Wendy, I'm so happy for you, but then she did kind of want Wendy to go to Hong Kong and Trip to go with her to keep him out of harm's way. But she uses that as an excuse to leave. So, and Wendy was like, I'm sorry I interrupted a moment between y'all. And she was like, no. Ava was like, no, I'm sorry that I ruined your, semi homecoming or whatever. So I'm gonna leave. So Ava leaves, and then Trip and Wendy talk, And she's like, Trip, why don't you seem excited I'm back? He said, she was like, at first you did, but now you're like, I don't know what's wrong. And he said, he just worried about his mom and everything. She said, no, but it's more to it. And so Wendy starts saying, you didn't want me to leave. I mean, you wanted me to leave. You didn't want me to come back because it gave you an excuse not to be with me. I said, girl, where are we going with this? What is happening right now? That's not what I got from Trip at all. Trip tell she is he seems just like he's concerned about his mom. He said, well, no, it's not that, Wendy. It's just I know your parents wanted to see you and I'm stressed out about my mom. But I'm happy you're here. I'm happy you're staying and everything. And so he calms her down and he kisses all up on her, and then she calls her mom. Her mom a little bit upset with her that she's not coming to help her with her dad. So it is what it is with them, y'all. So then the next thing we see, what goes next? So then the next thing we see, um, Trip Trip and Wendy, they work it all out. So the next thing we see, sorry, is Ava goes over to visit Stefan. But before she gets there, Stefan is actually on the phone with Gabby, and she's still in the hospital at the the prison, the infirmary, and she's talking to him and telling him she's doing she's doing all right, like right now, but of course he tells her he really needs to talk to her because there's a lot of stuff that's gone down and he needs to update her about it. But I think somebody took the phone from her, and he's trying to get them to tell Gabby that he cares about her, but then they hang up and everything. So that's that on that. So then when Ava comes in, he was like, "What you doing here?" She was like, "We need to discuss. Like they need to talk about everything that's going down with the bistro and all that, and try to figure out a way out of all of this." And so while they're doing that, Chad comes in, and Chad is just like, "What you doing here, Ava?" He was like, "I came over to pick up something for his kids. They leave stuff everywhere because you put them everywhere." But he's like, "I came up here to pick up something for the kids." And what did you doing here, Ava? And she was like, "Hey, I work at the bistro. This is my boss. That's why we're here." And Stefan's like, "We're talking business." He said, "We're investigating the drugs and everything." Stefan, are the Demiras tied to this? And he was like, "What?" He was like, "Are the Demiras tied to this? Because everything is pointing towards the Demiras, us. So y'all need to tell me what's up." And they blow it off or whatever. And he was like, "It doesn't make sense that y'all are meeting here and not at the bistro." And then Ava's like, "Okay, fine, we're gonna tell him. We're gonna tell him." Then she ends up kissing Stefan, and she said, "See, we're together." And Chad was like, "I'm not surprised," but he looks at Stefan suspicious, and then he goes on up the stairs. He goes ahead and goes up the stairs to get, the toy I think his child left up there. And then Stefan is like, "What was that about, Ava?" She said, "Well, you want to keep everyone from being suspicious. You better get used to kissing me and loving up on me and stuff. So get used to it." And then she kisses him again. I said, "Well, what is this kiss for? There's nobody around." I don't know, child. I don't know what they're about to do. We know Gabby isn't coming back, but I did think that they were going to recast, maybe. Honestly, I thought they were going to recast Gabby, and maybe after Stefan and Ava get into this relationship, they will, because we know Harris is gone because he's wrapped his scenes up with with Days of Our Lives, because he's going back to General Hospital now, and y'all so excited. They're so General Hospital fans are so excited about that, but you know it is what it is, child. I feel like he was just starting to make. I was just starting to really get into him as Harris, and now he's going back to General. I don't even watch General Hospital. What do I care? I don't even watch that soap anymore. Their storylines, they don't end. They just keep going and going, and I'm like, oh my gosh. Like I could jump in right now and they'd still be on the same storylines. Like, end it, please. That's one of the things I do like about Days, is that they will end the story. Like you could tell they think out a storyline, and when it ends, they'll have something else just cycle right into it with the characters, and I do appreciate that, and the fact that they have standalone characters as well. Like the Paulina storyline can be just their storyline, and it doesn't involve other people. You know what I mean? Like they have characters that they can hold make you want to see the cliffhanger and see the next week without it having to be the main person. You know what I'm? Does that make sense? Anyways, child, I'm done with the review. Now I'm just talking. I'm done. Um, I'm not doing anything. Y'all, it's so rainy in Texas that I'm not about to do anything today except, I gotta work. I have to work. And then I'm gonna straighten up a little bit. Um but besides that, I'm gonna do a little cooking, I'm gonna work, and then I tomorrow I'm going to get back to starting the gym because during the holiday season, I'm not gonna even lie, I fell off a little bit. I said, girl, we have got to get it together again. So I'm gonna start going back to the gym again. So there's that. I think the only storyline I'm gonna continue to do is Days of Our Lives and The Bold and the Beautiful, and every now and then I'm gonna drop in on The Young and the Restless. Honestly, I have no interest in General Hospital right now. Maybe I'll pick it back up because that is my favorite. That one, not my favorite soap, but that's a soap that I will always go back to because I grew up watching it. But sometimes I'm just like, I need a break. Your storylines go on too long. And then on Fridays or Saturdays, I think I'm gonna make it on Fridays. I'm gonna start reviewing. Did y'all know Dynasty was on Prime Video? I think it might be on Paramount too, but I watch it on Prime. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna start reviewing this. So I'm gonna get that together and start reviewing Dynasty on a Friday night. Just one episode at a time until the seasons are gone. And then once I'm done with that, I'm gonna do like another show, but I'm gonna get back into my recaps and stuff again. That's pretty much it. That's all I got going on. What y'all got going on? Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And I will see you tomorrow for an all new episode of What Happened on the Soaps, Days of Our Lives edition. Goodbye.